This is the Everyday AI Show, the everyday podcast where we simplify AI and bring its power to your fingertips. Listen daily for practical advice to boost your career, business, and everyday life.
Google keeps winning each week in AI. Yeah, they had their mega viral Nano Banana release, but they had two other AI updates that slipped under the radar that I think are going to be just as impactful. Meta, on the other hand, is not winning. They're reportedly losing, not just in the battle to create super intelligence, but just losing their people. And I think Salesforce, I don't know if we can believe what they say anymore anyways. There's been a lot happening in the world of AI. If you missed anything, don't worry. We're going to not just get you caught up, we're going to help you get ahead. All right. If you're new here, welcome. This is Everyday AI. What's going on, y'all? My name's Jordan Wilson, and I'm the host. And this thing, it's for you. It's your daily live stream podcast and free daily newsletter, helping everyday business leaders like you and me not just keep up with what's happening in the world of AI, but how we can use this information, decipher it, know what's good, what's not, to grow our companies and our careers. So it starts here with the unedited, unscripted live stream podcast. But if you want to really take it to the next level, the cheat code is our website, youreverydayai.com. So there you can not only sign up for our free daily newsletter where we're going to be recapping the highlights from today's show, but we're also going to give you every other thing you need to keep up, because it's a lot. Speaking of keeping up, this is our normal AI News That Matters weekly segment. We normally do this on Mondays, bringing you the AI News That Matters, but because of the holiday here in the US, we're doing it here live on Tuesday. So don't spend hours every single week trying to keep up. We're just going to tell you straight. Here's what matters. Here's what doesn't in the world of AI news, because as any week, there was a ton going on. So yeah, if you're on the podcast, make sure to check out your show notes. There's going to be a link to our website. So if you want to go check out more on these stories, we're going to be recapping them in the newsletter as well. In live stream audience, good to see you. Good morning to Dennis from New York City, Jose from Santiago, Angie checking in, Marie from New Jersey, Brian from Minnesota. It's great to see everyone. Let's get straight into it. So Meta is using its competitors. Yeah, that's an interesting headline that popped up this week in AI news. So according to the information, Meta is exploring integrating Google's Gemini and maybe even OpenAI's models into its Meta AI assistant to deliver better text-based answers to user search questions. Yeah, so even though Meta is spending reportedly billions of dollars on AI talent, the latest report from the information is saying they might just have to use their competitors' models anyways. So Meta leaders at the Meta Superintelligence Lab, or MSL, have, according to the reports, been discussing plugging in external models from their competitors as a near-term strategy to raise response quality, while Meta continues improving its in-house Llama models in the long run. So a Meta spokesperson said the company is taking in all of the above approach that combines partnerships with building its own systems, signaling a pragmatic focus on speed and performance, not just their own homegrown tech. So the information also reports that Meta already gives employees access to Anthropic's models for an internal coding assistant, showing the company is actively mixing providers where it sees advantages. So Meta views external model use as temporary and primarily a way to train, benchmark, and harden Llama so it can stay competitive with Google, OpenAI, and Anthropic in both consumer and developer-facing features. So this is one of those stories that definitely caught me off guard when we included it in our newsletter late last week. Here's why. And I've been saying this for the longest time, and I don't know if people don't believe me or what. And, you know, when companies are shopping around to a handful of providers, and I say no, you know, when I tell you that there's a big drop off between Google and OpenAI, right? they flip-flop back and forth. I'm always 1A, 1B, 1A, 1A. They're sharing the pedestal. It is a steep drop from OpenAI and Google to everyone else. So steep, in fact, that according to the report, that one of the companies vying to be in that first tier is actually thinking of using their competitor models in their consumer-facing products. Let's think about that for a minute. Not just internally. So we saw the report that they are apparently using Anthropic's Claude, which excels at coding internally, but offering it to end users via their Meta AI assistant. So, it might not be like a drop down where you're like, all right, I'm going to Meta AI and I'm using Chat GPT, or, I'm using Gemini 2.5 Pro, right? So presumably it's just, you're going to go to Meta AI and just be using their Llama models, or in the Meta AI assistant that's in its Facebook, WhatsApp, and Instagram offerings. But that's pretty telling. And if it's not telling for your company, I've been saying you're essentially choosing between OpenAI and Google, right? Obviously, Microsoft Copilot uses OpenAI's model, so kind of the same thing there. But I mean, this is a pretty shocking story to me when I read this. All right, our next piece of AI news. Google dropping some pretty big updates to two of their different products. So first, it seems like they're kind of going after Duolingo, even though Duolingo is a smaller company. But it seems like Google, with its new AI updates to its Translate app, is going after at least the Duolingo audience, or their share in the market. So Google is rolling out two AI-powered features in Google Translate that aim to make language practice in live conversations faster and more practical. So the headline change is AI-generated practice sessions inside the Google Translate app now adapt to your skill level, basic, intermediate, or advanced, and let you choose to practice listening or speaking on demand. So lessons are also scenario-based, such as asking about meal times and including short listening clips with word selection or speaking drills where you repeat on-screen phrases. So right now, this feature is in beta on iOS and Android apps and invites you to share your motivation for learning to tailor your session content. So, there's a just starting level that is planned but is not yet available. So Google says it's worked with learning experts in current research and language acquisition, positioning this as a free, lightweight practice option that is definitely going to cut into Duolingo's casual use territory. So, if I'm being honest here, I'm kind of shocked that it's taken this long. I think Google, obviously, they created this technology that translates languages, right? So it's a type of artificial intelligence technology that they essentially created many years ago before the Chat GPT and generative AI boom. So it's kind of interesting to me that it took Google this long to realize that they were sitting on a potential gold mine with their Google Translate app. And I was actually surprised that they weren't doing more because one of the big use cases with their Gemini Live and even with ChatGPT's advanced voice mode is learning new languages. And, it's very different when you're using, a kind of like a Duolingo type app where previously, before all these companies started to try to embed AI assistants, really all it did was tell you if you pronounced words or phrases correctly. So for people looking to learn a new language, whether it's for personal or business reasons, I think this update from Google is huge. Yeah, I was not expecting Google to actually go after two different kind of startup or audiences. So more on the second one here in a bit. But yeah, I'm curious, is anyone going to be out there now using Google Translate to learn a new language? Makes sense. All right. Our next piece of AI news, more meta news. And probably not a good one. Yeah. Multiple stories. Well, this one is good, but it stems from something that's really bad. So, according to reports, Meta is rolling out new protections over the next few weeks to stop teen users and its AI chatbot from discussing with each other self-harm, suicide, and disordered eating with Meta AI on Instagram and Facebook, with changes initially first applying to English-speaking countries. So the company says it has added guardrails that train its AI not to engage with teens on these topics and to redirect them to expert resources, aiming to prevent harmful coaching or guidance. And if you're wondering, like, okay, what is this update to? Well, yeah, Matt has been in some huge hot water recently. So you can go listen to episode 592 if you want to. But essentially, reports came out that said that Meta had an internal policy that actually encouraged and trained its AI to have romantic conversations with minors. Yes, that's enough to make you throw up in your stomach. But now, after a ridiculous amount of public backlash, apparently Meta is working to remedy some of these disgusting things that it had baked into its AI assistant. So, Meta will also reportedly temporarily block teens from accessing user-made chatbot characters that could host inappropriate or sexualized conversations, limiting them to a select group of vetted AI characters for now. So, like I said, go listen to 592. But if you want the short, this move follows a series of troubling reports. So it was Reuters that cited an internal Meta policy suggesting chatbots could have sensual conversations with minors, language that Meta called an error and they removed. But it was definitely in their policy, and it was reported that at least 5 different leaders in different departments approved the language. So seems like it was one of those things that, it's an error because they got caught. And yeah, gross. And lawmakers are also watching this closely. So, U.S. Senator Josh Hawley has announced plans to investigate Meta's handling of teen interactions. There is a deadline that he set for about 2.5 weeks from now. So, we'll see if Meta does cough up any internal documents that the senator requested, as well as Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton has indicated interest in probing whether the company misled children about mental health claims tied to its chatbot. All right, Marie here says episode 592 was a rough one to listen to. Yeah, it was not a fun thing to read Meta's internal policy that literally outlining how they wanted it to have romantic conversations with minors. It was disgusting, but it was an actually reportedly approved internal policy at Meta. So about time, this should have happened immediately. First of all, Meta never should have had that policy. I hope whoever approved those things is no longer working at the company. And I hope that Meta has an internal shift, right? Obviously, their intentions are probably a little bit different than everyone else's. They want their social network to be as sticky as possible with their Meta AI assistant, where to his credit, at least publicly, OpenAI CEO Sam Altman has said he doesn't want people spending more time using ChatGPT, right? Literally, he came out and said that he wants people probably getting their answers faster and moving on. So one to definitely keep an eye on. All right. Next piece of AI news that matters this week, Salesforce is cutting 4,000 jobs due to what they say, AI agents. So Salesforce CEO Mark Benoit said in a recent interview that AI agents allowed him to reduce customer support headcount at Salesforce from about 9,000 to 5,000 employees, highlighting a rapid shift in how customer service work could be done. So according to Benoit, AI agents now handle about half of Salesforce's customer conversations, with humans covering the other 50%, a drastic change from last year's reported mix. So the CEO said AI agents are also tackling sales follow-ups, calling back more than 100 million previously untouched leads accumulated over 26 years, which he framed as a major productivity unlock. So he described a system with an omni-channel supervisor coordinating when AI should handle a task and when humans should take over, similar to a driver stepping in a car when in a car's self-driving mode when it engages. So Salesforce reported 76,453 total employees across divisions as of January. So the support staff reduction represents a notable reshaping within a single function rather than a company-wide cut. So not surprising here because Salesforce's CEO, this isn't the first time, and I'm guessing it's not the last time that he kind of made these large claims about, hey, how AI is doing, a big bulk of, certain operations within their company, and they're really trying to push their agent force offering. Yeah, it hasn't worked. And I've been obviously very honest about my approach to Salesforce and their tactics and the effectiveness or ineffectiveness of their AI and agent force. I've had a lot of current and former Salesforce employees reach out to me and say, yeah, all this stuff you're seeing reported, it's a bunch of BS. And I think it's also telling, right? You can't look at a company's stock and make make your decision based on this. But it's pretty telling when Salesforce's stock year to date is down 22%. When you look at all the other big companies that are up 20%, up 30%, up 50% or more. So Salesforce really wants to ride the coattails of this agentic success. I think their rollout was terrible. I think how they positioned Agent Force and even how they were charging for it originally, bad. So essentially, I wouldn't expect this to be the last time. And Benoit, early on was trying to, pick fights with Microsoft. Probably not a good idea, right? Really trying to insert Salesforce and Agent Force into the conversation as a major player in the agentic AI race. Hasn't worked yet. Here, another attempt. I think this is one of those things, when a big CEO says, oh, we use AI to cut, customer service, thousands or hundreds of jobs. I think what they're trying to say is, okay, use our product, right? Yeah, I don't know. Let's keep it going.
Are you still running in circles trying to figure out how to actually grow your business with AI? Maybe your company has been tinkering with large language models for a year or more, but can't really get traction to find ROI on Gen AI. Hey, this is Jordan Wilson, host of this very podcast. Companies like Adobe, Microsoft, and NVIDIA have partnered with us because they trust our expertise in educating the masses around generative AI to get ahead. And some of the most innovative companies in the country hire us to help with their AI strategy and to train hundreds of their employees on how to use Gen AI. So whether you're looking for ChatGPT training for thousands or just need help building your front-end AI strategy, you can partner with us too, just like some of the biggest companies in the world do. Go to youreverydayai.com/partner to get in contact with our team, or you can just click on the partner section of our website. We'll help you stop running in those AI circles and help get your team ahead and build a straight path to ROI on Gen AI.
This piece of AI news might seem small. It's pretty big. It's for developers, but I think ultimately it's going to impact everyone. So OpenAI announced the general availability of its real-time API alongside GPT Real-Time, a faster, more accurate speech-to-speech model aimed at production-grade voice agents. So the real-time API now supports remote MCP servers, model context protocol, image inputs, and session initiation protocol for phone calling, enabling developers to plug voice agents into existing tools in telephone systems with less custom wiring. Y'all, this is huge. I know this is technically more of a developer API story, right? So this isn't something you're going to go to ChatGPT and look for GPT real time. This is for companies building on top of OpenAI's technology, which is actually tens of thousands of the largest companies in the world are using OpenAI's technology. So what this means is, as an example, maybe your bank, instead of having to talk to a support agent and waiting on hold and being able to barely hear them because there's a bunch of chatter in the background and it takes forever, you might just be able to talk to OpenAI's GPT real time, and it can access, like I said, images. It can access your company's data. So pretty big here. So the model handles nuanced speech behaviors, including better alphanumeric transcription across languages, mid-sentence language switching, right? So talk about an international impact, and also tone control. And it also debuted 2 new voices, Cedar and Martin, that are exclusive to the real-time API. So unlike traditional stitching of separate speech to text and text to speech systems, the real-time API runs a single model pipeline, which OpenAI says reduces latency and preserves conversational nuance. So what that means is a lot of these previous historically, right? And I say historically very loosely, right? Over the last year or two, when we've seen a lot of these kind of AI voice models, it's actually doing a lot under the hood. So it would first kind of transcribe the audio to text, and then it would kind of think in text, and it would transmit it and respond back in voice. So instead, this is a strictly voice to voice. So it is, think of it, instead of having to make multiple passes in order for the model to work, now it doesn't. So this is a pretty big deal for even non-developers and non-technical people, because we're going to start to see more realistic, more neural sounding AI agents, right? I've actually called a couple places here in Chicago, and I'm like, wait, this is an AI agent, right? Answering the phone. They've been really bad, right? Because I think they're using the older technology. So with this new technology, I do think it's going to be a pretty big step up in not just quality, but also ultimately usefulness to the end user. And I do think, speaking of what Salesforce's CEO just said, I do think that customer service is going to be one of those areas that is going to get disrupted by this technology. But I don't think the technology has been up to snuff. I do think Gemini's models are very impressive. So we'll have to see if this new real-time API, GPT real-time from OpenAI, exceeds the quality and the response time from Gemini's model, which is one of the top in the world right now. All right, let's keep it going. Our next piece of AI news. Yeah, more cracks in Meta's AI partnerships. So according to TechCrunch, Meta's $14.3 billion investment in Scale AI in June isn't looking the best. So Meta did invest in Acqui-hired Scale AI CEO to run their Meta AI division for $14.3 billion, as well as a 49% equity stake in Scale AI. But just months later, it's seemingly starting to kind of fall apart. So according to TechCrunch, they said that Ruben Meyer, Scale's AI and former SVP of Gen AI product and operations, who joined Meta with Alexander Wang, the former Scale AI CEO, and now who's leading Meta's AI efforts. So they're saying that Ruben Meyer just left Meta roughly after only 2 months, and that Meyer told TechCrunch he was part of the core TBD labs. So that is one of the new 4 divisions of Meta's super intelligence labs. So he said that he was part of the core TBD labs from day one and is leaving for a personal matter. So it's pretty interesting. We're seeing a lot of reports. A lot of these people that were getting million, 10 million, reported $100 million contracts are apparently leaving Meta after only weeks or months at the company. So despite the investment, 5 different sources told TechCrunch that Meta's TBD Labs is actively using other data labeling vendors as well. So that was one of the big reasons reportedly why Meta did acqui-hire Scale AI was for their data labeling technology to improve the quality of their large language models, but 5 different sources said that Meta's TBD Labs is using Scale AI's competitors in Surge and Merker, and some researchers view Scale AI's data quality as lower than competitors' offerings. And Meta did dispute any quality issues. So a lot of news from Meta this week. So not only are they reportedly looking at potentially offering either Google, Gemini, or OpenAI's models to their consumers via their Meta AI chatbot, but even internally, their big multi-billion-dollar acquisition of Scale AI apparently isn't going as well as it should have. So, according to the report, Scale AI has been shifting from a crowdsourced, low-cost workforce to recruiting high-paid domain experts via its Outlier platform. But competitors like Surge and Merker originally built around expert talent from the start and have been growing more quickly. So inside Meta, multiple sources described rising turbulence. New hires from OpenAI and Scale are frustrated by big company bureaucracy, and parts of Meta's previously Gen AI team have seen their scope reduced. So following a lackluster Llama 4 launch in April, Meta's Mark Zuckerberg accelerated deals, recruited top researchers from OpenAI, Google DeepMind, Anthropic, and others, and also pursued acquisitions like Play AI, Waveform AI, plus a recent partnership with Midjourney. So Meta is also pouring money into infrastructure, announcing multiple U.S. data centers, including a $50 billion Louisiana project named Hyperion. I think that's how it's pronounced, as MSL targets a next generation AI model by year end. So recent departures continue to hit Meta's AI ranks, with MSL researcher Rashab Argwal, product director Chaya Nayak, and research engineer Rohan Varma among those reportedly leaving after those big, NBA type contracts. So a lot of recent questions around Meta's internal workings and questions about their stability and retention despite spending billions of dollars. So we thought that, it seemed like collectively people thought that, Zuckerberg and Meta and team were just going to outspend their way after, Meta's Llama 4 didn't come off that great. Essentially, Zuckerberg went out and spent billions of dollars hiring the top researchers, engineers from every single big company. And it's, if I'm being honest, kind of shocking to see a lot of them leave already after only months or weeks. So that means that they are likely leaving tens of millions of dollars on the table. So you have to be wondering why these researchers, when they have all the compute, right? A lot of times it's like, I'm going to leave here so I can have, more autonomy and work on bigger projects and, have more compute to do research. And so you reportedly are getting all that at Meta. You're getting millions and millions of dollars, or in some cases, tens of millions or hundreds of millions of dollars, yet these people are reportedly leaving. So you have to understand or think, why? I'm not sure. I have thoughts on that, but we'll save that for another episode. Our next piece of AI news, pretty big news for publishers. So Perplexity is launching Comet Plus, a $5 per month subscription that will share 80% of the product revenue with participating publishers. This is according to the Wall Street Journal. So the new Comet Plus plan aims to pay publishers when Perplexity's AI assistants rely on their articles to answer user questions, addressing both index traffic and new what's called agent traffic from its Comet agent in the Comet browser. So Perplexity says agent traffic includes actions like scanning a user's calendar and suggesting relevant articles, interactions that typically bypass on-site ads and page visits and aren't covered by many existing publisher deals. So the initial payouts will draw from a $42+ million revenue pool that Perplexity says will expand as Comet Plus signup grows. Existing Pro and Max subscribers are automatically contributing. That's an important one. So if you're already paying for a paid Perplexity plan, you will get access to this Comet Plus. You do have to be using the Comet browser. And the portion of your monthly subscription is being automatically contributed because Comet Plus is included in those other paid plans. So publishers receive 80% of Comet Plus revenue, while 20% goes to compute costs for Perplexity. But critics note that 80% of $5 is $4, potentially unlocking broad content access that many outlets currently price at $20 to $30 a month. So essentially, publishers are saying, I don't know if that's going to really be enough in the long run. And Perplexity's current publisher program, which includes Time and Fortune and some other big publishers, shares ad revenue based on traffic that AI summaries might divert. But it is unclear whether Comet Plus replaces or sits alongside this current program. So the Wall Street Journal reports that Perplexity will pay publishers each time their content is used by its assistants, but details on how usage is tracked, attributed, and audited have not been fully disclosed. So Engadget's report notes the move follows past allegations that Perplexity plagiarized articles, bypassed paywalls, scraped company websites when they asked the bots not to scrape, and it's raising the stakes for a model that depends on publisher cooperation to legitimize agent-driven browsing. Like I've been saying for years, this is bound to happen. There's three things big publishers can do. They can sue the big AI model makers, they can partner with them in licensing deals such as this, or they can go out of business. So I do actually like this move from Perplexity. They are the first one to at least publicly put this out there. So as a former journalist, I like this. This is maybe something that could keep some of those medium sized publishers in business longer because it is bleak. It is bleak out there. So many of the biggest online only news publications are reportedly losing 30 to 70% of their traffic, which means they're losing a big chunk of their revenue. So if we want a future internet that is not just AI regurgitated slop, you have to root and hope programs like this stick, and that big AI companies, which a lot of the bigger companies are, Google, OpenAI, Microsoft, they are putting out different grants and programs to support journalism and nonprofits putting out information. So hopefully these things catch on and stick, because we need original writing. We need original reporting, because that's what all these models are trained on, right? So it's kind of this weird juxtaposition that the AI models, by essentially just ingesting the entirety of the internet, they're all training on the same internet. So by doing that, they're cutting off the hand that feeds them, right? And all of these newer agentic browsers, deep research modes, right? They're taking all this high quality information that humans at some point spent a lot of time creating. But now, if you're taking away their ad revenue, if you're taking away their subscription revenue, how are you going to feed this beast that needs higher quality data? You can't. So this is, I would say, a red siren alert to the, because I know we have people listening, obviously, to the podcast from all of the big companies. All of the big AI labs need to be doing this. Otherwise, it is going to get harder and harder. When you talk about pre-training, reinforcement learning with human feedback, you need higher quality data sources. And people don't know this. Before ChatGPT, the GPT technology and AI technology was being used widely on the internet. So I will say probably since 2021, a good chunk of the internet has been AI slop, especially everything that's been posted online past 2023. So when we talk about the future of good, clean, high quality, accurate, factual data, we need more partnership programs like this to keep high quality journalism, human-led journalism in place if you want future models to make sense. All right. Another big move from Google that might seem small and is going after, again, a startup audience. So, Google has added pre made AI avatars and new editing features to its Google Vids workspace video tool, accelerating how teams create trainings, onboardings, and demo videos. And a lot of these features are rolling out for free, which is huge, with some of the more premium features just for paid Gemini users. So, the new update matters because cheaper, faster AI video creation could disrupt jobs for video editors, camera operators, and commercial actors, while also putting more powerful production tools in the hands of smaller teams and startups. Yeah, this is one of those weird ones, right? When Google does this, it matters, right? Yes, there's obviously dozens of very good AI avatar and AI video editing startups, but when Google does it, it's going to be potentially disruptive. If you work in video production, you got to keep your eyes on this. So that's the bad part. I do think this is going to impact a lot of these smaller companies. They might just find trouble getting other clients, because if you're a smaller business, you might just start using these new Google Vids features. On the upside, it's going to help smaller businesses tell better and more compelling stories. So this is one of those, as a former video editor myself, I've spent thousands of hours in the past editing videos. So this is, again, one of those ones that's kind of personal to me, where I'm like, man, this is actually going to take away so many entry video, video editing, video production jobs, voiceover jobs. But at the same time, it's going to help so many companies grow and provide better information to their employees and their customers. So here's what's new. Users can write a script, select an AI avatar, and generate a complete video. And teams can also collaborate live in the Vids app, much like a Google Doc or Sheets. So the new features are available to Google Workspace Business and Enterprise customers, and to subscribers of Google AI Pro or Ultra. But also, a basic non-AI Vids editor is available for free for all users. So some of the more basic features are available for free, but a lot of these more premium ones are only for paid subscribers. So Vids now includes noise cancellation, background options, filters, appearance tweaks, and a transcript trim tool that automatically removes filler words and awkward pauses, cutting the kind of tedious edits that used to take professionals hours. So for those that prefer not to use AI avatars, you can also record yourself and let AI improve the lighting, sound, and pacing. So Google executives said that Vids can fix talking too fast or using too many fillers in a few clicks. So Google says Vids is aimed at teams without agency budgets and larger companies that want fast first drafts before bringing in professional actors or agencies. So pretty big news here. And this one, I mean, it goes after a lot of the AI avatar companies, right? So like HeyGen, some of those, but also companies like Descript. So a lot of these bigger AI startups that have been around for many years that allow you to, upload your videos, your meeting transcripts, and cut it down, right, instantly, and just using a transcript to edit the video as well. So two pretty big moves I wasn't expecting from Google, kind of going after specific startup markets, but going pretty hard, right? Because from what I've seen already, these updates to Google Vids, I think, put it in the top tier versus these companies that have been trying to work and improve their products for multiple years. So it's something you have to pay attention to. All right. Next, AI news. A new study from Stanford finds how AI is cutting into entry-level jobs, but actually boosting senior roles. So the new paper from Stanford finds that since late 2022, entry-level employment has fallen sharply in AI-exposed fields, underscoring how Gen AI adoption is reshaping who gets hired, promoted, or laid off right now. So according to the Stanford economists who put the study together, early career workers in AI exposed occupations saw a 13% decline in enrollment compared to 2022, compared with more experienced peers in less exposed sectors. So the biggest hits are in software engineering and customer service, where entry level roles dropped about 20% between late 2022 and July 2025, while employment for older workers in the same jobs actually increased. So overall, workers aged 22 to 25 in the most AI exposed fields experience a 6% employment decline versus a 6 to 9% rise for older workers. So the researchers used payroll data from ADP for the study, covering employers with a combined 25 million workers, allowing precise tracking by age and job title. An unusually robust data set for such a recent technology shift. Also, can we just call out Stanford? Good job. This is how you do a study. You look at 25 million, a pool of millions of people, not MIT that puts out a marketing study by talking to 52 people and going with their vibes. Sorry, I had to put that in there. Certain studies are worth paying attention to, certain studies aren't. This is one. Yes, it's a troubling study, but it also shows you kind of this duality of how AI is actually impacting jobs. All right, and our last big piece of AI news for the week: Google has gone bananas and the internet is going bananas for Google's Nano Banana. So Google has released their new Gemini 2.5 Flash image, which beforehand was called Nano Banana, and it was just extremely well received. I would say this is probably a top 5 kind of quote unquote viral AI product since ChatGPT. So when you look at the LM Arena, it came in at 170 points over the next best model for its ability to edit and create images with just text. And that is the biggest upgrade ever in terms of points on the LM Arena leaderboard. So, what is this new Gemini 2.5 Flash image? Well, number one, that's a mouthful to say. So I do like that Google has already just ran with and updated, because when this came out last week, a lot of people were like, "Oh, you should have just called it Nano Banana." So Google has actually been putting, a little banana icon when you choose it. I believe in AI Studio, it says the word Nano Banana now, versus if you just have to be like, okay, is Gemini 2.5 Flash image, is that the right one? But here's what's different and what's very impressive about this model. Well, one, it is a multimodal by default, and that is huge because Google does have their other AI image model, Imagine 4, which is extremely incredible and useful. However, this is different because it allows you, because it is multimodal by default and has an understanding, because it's part of Gemini 2.5, it understands how the world works. It understands relationships between objects. So when you are editing in natural language, so you can upload a photo and edit it with your words, right? It's important for it to be multimodal by default. Also, the character consistency off the charts, right? So a lot of people, when the OpenAI GPT-4o image gen kind of went viral, they noticed, okay, well, when I upload a photo of myself, as an example, it always changes certain features, right? I think OpenAI did that by default. They probably did it for safety and guardrails, but Nano Banana didn't, right? They're allowing essentially pinpoint accurate character consistency. So you can upload a photo of yourself and then essentially do whatever you want, right? But keep that character consistency. You can upload, 10 different objects, and then Google's new model can combine them all in one photo, and then you can keep that character consistency throughout. So this is huge, a huge jump in quality and even capabilities just for all creative fields. So pricing and access are structured for scale. So Google AI Studio currently offers about 100 free daily edits for users, while the API usage is extremely cheap at just under 4 cents an image, which is a fraction of what the other AI text to image or AI image editing models charge that are not nearly as powerful. So, like I said, some of the standout features of the new Nano Banana Gemini 2.5 Flash image is the ability to talk in natural language, character consistency, and just being able to iterate with different images. So, pretty big news. And I think this isn't the last you've heard on this show of Nano Banana. We're probably going to be having a few more episodes covering it. All right. That's not it. There's a whole lot more. Now we're here for the wrap up section of what's new and what's next, because recently there's too much to cover for our big news stories. So here's a quick bullet point rundown of some other noteworthy updates that maybe didn't make our top stories list. All right, here we go. Rapid fire. So Gemini's CLI, their code tool, their coding tool for the desktop for the code line editor, is now integrated into the editor Zed. And Anthropic, pretty exciting one here, they're piloting a new Claude for Chrome feature, only rolled it out to 1,000 beta testers. But this is pretty cool. It's an agentic use case that actually uses your browser and not a virtual environment. Microsoft has released its two kind of flagship models, MAI Voice 1 and MAI 1 Preview. Anthropic will start training its chats on user data after not doing that for the first couple of years. Notebook LM has teased flashcards literally the day after I said, oh, they don't have flashcards, but they need them. Notebook LM is now teasing those, and they may be rolling out soon. XAI unveiled their Grok Code Fast 1 coding model. Some more Notebook LM rumors. They may be adding new voices and new modes soon. Microsoft Copilot rolled out a study and learn option, very similar to those features found in ChatGPT and Gemini. OpenAI released some major codex updates that have been extremely well received. I'm surprised. The conversation around Claude Code has been getting more and more negative over the last few weeks, and this new codex update, it's been very well received. So we'll probably be talking about that more in the future. ChatGPT may soon release conversation branching, which could be big. ChatGPT team is no more. That plan has now been renamed ChatGPT Business. According to Tibor on Twitter, OpenAI may be releasing a ChatGPT health team plan soon, which includes HIPAA compliance. That's pretty big. And ChatGPT may be updating its thinking mode with light, standard, extended, and max thinking options for paid users. Whew, that was a ton of AI news. Let's quickly recap the main stories. So we started with talking about Meta potentially using Google Gemini or OpenAI's models to help their own llama models along. Google Translate with some huge AI updates and kind of essentially challenging Duolingo and their audience. Meta has tightened their safeguards on its AI and how it interacts with teen users. Salesforce reportedly cut 4,000 jobs in customer service due to AI agents. OpenAI launched their real-time API called GPT Real-Time, which I personally think is going to be huge. Meta's Scale AI investment is reportedly showing some early strain with some problems and people leaving. Perplexity has unveiled their new Comet Plus that will pay publishers. Google, their Vids product has added AI avatars and easier and speedier video production. A new study from Stanford showed that AI is actually hurting entry-level jobs for younger workers, while older workers are actually finding more jobs. And last but not least, Google released their mega viral, extremely capable Gemini 2.5 Flash image Nano Banana model. That was a ton to go through. I hope this show was helpful. If so, please repost this. We normally do this every Monday. With the holiday, it was just the AI news that matters on Tuesday. But for the most part, here's our lineup. On Monday, we bring you the AI news that matters. Most Tuesdays, we bring you a Hot Take Tuesday, our hot take on something going on in the world of AI. On Wednesdays, we give you practical use cases with AI at work on Wednesday, showing you how to use different tools and modes and giving you practical use cases. And for the most part, on Thursday and Fridays, we do different interviews with the world's leading experts. If that's going to help you accomplish your goals in being the smartest person in AI at your company, then you got to go to our website, youreverydayai.com. Go sign up for the free daily newsletter. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you back tomorrow and every day for more Everyday AI. Thanks, y'all.
And that's a wrap for today's edition of Everyday AI. Thanks for joining us. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and leave us a rating. It helps keep us going. For a little more AI magic, visit youreverydayai.com and sign up to our daily newsletter so you don't get left behind. Go break some barriers, and we'll see you next time.